in our future. So King and I are very proud to support the Toronto District School Board as it rebuilds and improves York Memorial Collegiate Institute after the tragic fire of 2019 with an investment of over $11 million to build a permanent addition that will benefit the families of the old city of York. Along with this board's planned upgrades and the improvements to restore the school, this new addition and this investment by the province with the school board will create 368 new student spaces for a total now of 1,300 spaces for students in the school. York Memorial Collegiate Institute has served families for generations. And we believe in our government and our premier that we have to assist communities and help them rebuild from this difficulty to improve the school, create the best learning environment as possible. And so we're doing this in partnership. And so we're very grateful to renew the entire school, to build an expansion funded by the province, working with the school board to build new futures, new memories and legacies together in honor of those young women and men who served valiantly in uniform in defense of our freedom. It's part of a broader investment we're making to build new schools, building them in urban centers and vertical communities, in condos and small towns and villages everywhere in the GTHA in Ontario. We are building and investing because we know that there are great needs to modernize our schools with the top-of-the-art, state-of-the-art ventilation, internet connectivity, accessibility for all children irrespective of their exceptionality. So we're excited by this. This is a major investment. It's going to renew and reignite the spirit of our students at this school. And we're very proud to do it in partnership with our community who've been wonderful, hardworking champions of hope as we deal with great tragedy and difficulty. So thank you so much for all that you do. And on that note, I'm very excited to introduce my friend and colleague, Kinga Surma, the Minister of Infrastructure and the MPP for Etobicoke Centre.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with the Minister of Education, with Stephen, and all of you for today's announcement on this important education infrastructure project. Improving facilities like York Memorial Collegiate not only ensures a safe and meaningful learning environment for our children, projects like this also contribute towards building more vibrant and resourceful communities for today and for the future. Schools like this are where the young, bright minds of our province grow and flourish, becoming the next generation of nurses, teachers, trade workers, and future leaders. Investing in our province's infrastructure has always been essential, but now, more than ever, it's something we cannot delay. Our government recognizes this and is building Ontario to the best it can be. After all, investing in our infrastructure is investing in our economic future. It's investing in our health and safety. It's investing in our quality of life. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, our government has remained focused and committed to supporting communities while putting the pillars in place for future growth and economic recovery. Whether it's new schools, safer roads, access to high-speed internet, or a new community center, we have continued to invest and continue to build. Our government is investing more than $148 billion over the next 10 years to build hospitals, long-term care facilities, public transit, and other infrastructure projects that families depend on to care for their loved ones, put food on their tables, and get to where they need to go quickly and safely. This investment will also help to build, upgrade, and repair highways so that we have a strong transportation network in place for the efficient delivery of items such as PPE and vaccines. Here in the GTHA, we are investing heavily in crucial infrastructure. For example, late last year, we announced a multi-billion-dollar plan to build a new state-of-the-art Mississauga hospital and to expand Queensway Health Centre in Etobicoke. This incredible important infrastructure project will provide a new modern center for complex continuing care and rehabilitation while reducing wait times. Some of our other local health infrastructure commitments include building a new 6-story facility at the West Park Healthcare Center, investing in a major redevelopment of St. Joseph's Health Center, and upgrading Etobicoke General Hospital. Families in these communities will now be able to receive the best possible care when they need it most. And that's not all we're doing. To ensure that residents can get to where they need to go quickly and efficiently, our government is also supporting public transit in the Greater Toronto Area. And we're making great progress on our $28.5 billion plan for the largest subway expansion in Canadian history. Since June 2021, Ontario has also officially broken ground on the Scarborough subway extension and the Eglinton Crosstown West extension. I recently visited the Eglinton Crosstown West extension launch shaft with my colleague and friend, Transportation Minister Caroline Mulroney, and the work that is being done is truly, truly incredible. The tunnel launch shaft is nearing completion, and I absolutely cannot wait for the 2 tunnel boring machines to be lowered into the ground in the early spring. Once completed, the Eglinton Crosstown West extension will put an estimated 50,000 more people within walking distance to transit. Our government is also proud to be supporting cultural and recreational infrastructure projects across Ontario. Last spring, we announced an investment of approximately $3 million in funding to improve recreational facilities in the area. This includes replacing the roof and improving accessibility at the Norseman Community Pool, as well as other accessibility upgrades and new concrete pads at the Sir Adam Beck Ice Rink. Under Premier Ford's leadership, we will end hallway healthcare, build public transit like never before, and make sure that your children have the best learning environment possible in and out of school. Our government is saying yes to building Ontario because together we will build a brighter, stronger, and more resilient province. Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Craig Snyder to say a few words.
Thank you for the introduction, Minister Surma. And it's great to be here today with you, Minister Lecce, Trustee Tonks, and the rest of the TDSB team. We are extremely grateful for the $11 million to help fund the rebuild of York Memorial, an important part of our board. Once this reconstruction and expansion is complete, the school will become a facility for 1,300 students. The building is designed to expand York Memorial Collegiate to support a consolidation with the nearby George Harvey School. This design of combined integrated school is currently underway and aligns with the board's vision for secondary schools across the city. This vision sees a range of programs and experience and opportunities available to students in one setting. York Memorial site has been under construction immediately after the fire. Special attention has been given to the important heritage features such as the stained glass, foyer mural, and the bricks from the demolished areas, which have been retained for the reconstruction and carefully restored. To date, we have completed the cleanup and removal of debris, as well as environmental remediation to eliminate unsafe conditions or contamination at the site. The remaining building structure has been stabilized and a temporary roof has been installed to protect the building from weather and damage during the construction. Currently, the contractor is starting work on the Heritage South facade, pending review and approval. We are working to target the completion date of 2026. This beautiful new facility will present more effective and efficient use of space, combined with a larger student population. We're offer those multiple programs and courses of study that all students are looking for. We can't wait to open the door. Once again, I thank you, the ministry, for their contribution of funding, and I'm back to you, Minister Lecce.
Thank you so much. I also want to thank the board for their hard work over this period of time and their commitment to rebuilding the school. With that, I believe I'll turn it over to Keelan.
Okay, so just a reminder to media, if you do have a question, please send a message to the host account. So with that, we will go over to the first question. And just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up. So the first question is to Allison Jones at the Canadian Press. Go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Lecce.
Hi there.
I have a question or two actually about childcare and the childcare negotiations. The Premier has said that Ontario and Ottawa are very, very close to a deal. Minister Gould's characterization was a little different. She said there's still a considerable amount of work to do. So I'm wondering if you could explain the discrepancy between those two characterizations. Are we close, and what are the sticking points?
Well, we are very much committed in this province in getting a fair deal, a better deal for the people of this province. The Premier is right. We have been making a great deal of progress on our case in good faith of the federal government because we want to bring childcare costs down. The truth is, childcare has become so inaccessible and so unaffordable to parents, not just in the 416, but literally in every community of Ontario, rural and urban. Everyone is facing the same pressures of pricing, of costs, and affordability. We saw a 400% increase transpire under the past government, and we just simply think it's unacceptable to be in a position where it's become where so many families have been it's out of reach. And so we're working with the feds, making our case for a better deal with greater flexibility that allows us to support all families. And we're going to continue to have those negotiations at the table with one aim, which is land a deal, bring down prices, and provide as much support to moms and dads of this province.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about the timeline of it? Is there, how long after you reach a deal will families have to wait to see that 50% cut? What's sort of the timing there? And is there a date by which, if you don't get a deal, families won't see the fee cut for, say, another year? Do you need to get something in place by end of fiscal, for example?
We're working very hard and aggressively to land a deal as soon as possible so that we can provide that certainty both to our operators and to the families who are paying those exorbitant fees. The commitment is in the first year of this deal that prices would come down to 50%. We're working with the federal government on the mechanics of that to ensure it gets done in a timely manner, because we need to bring savings to families immediately. And our Premier is committed to reducing costs and affordability when it comes to working people in Ontario. And the fact is, in our first budget, second, third budget, we enriched the Ontario Child Care Tax Credit, which provides immediate direct savings to all families, not some families, but every parent in Ontario, regardless of how they raise their child. So at $1,500 in savings per child. I appreciate that everyone wants this deal done. Our Premier and government is committed to doing that. We're simply working with the federal government to land those details and get the best possible deal, a truly fair deal for Ontario families and taxpayers. And I do believe, as the Premier's noted, that deal is within reach. We're just going to continue working with the feds constructively in good faith to provide a deal that finally makes childcare affordable after over a decade of it becoming very inaccessible and unaffordable to virtually every parent in this province.
Okay, we'll go to the next question, just for Chris Rishawi at the Toronto Star.
Hi there. Thanks for taking my question. My question is actually for Minister Lecce. I just wanted to ask, with regards to the student and staff absence data that the province is posting, there are a number of boards that have gone out on their own, and they're providing parents with what they say is more detailed and more meaningful data with regards to absences. And I'm just wondering if the province plans on tweaking what it provides, and what you feel about boards doing this on their own.
Well, we encourage school boards to follow the advice of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, and obviously consult with their local medical officers of health whenever they endeavor to introduce a change to the protocol. At the end of the day, our commitment is to provide transparent information to parents on a daily basis with respect to absenteeism. We're doing that for students and for staff. In addition to continuing to publicize school closures, I will note that the New Democrats of BC to many provinces in between are following the exact same approach. In fact, they've led in this respect. Most provinces are moving in this direction, and it is on the advice of the Chief Medical Officer of Health. We've retained strong public health measures within our schools. In fact, we've strengthened them in 2022 with the deployment of 3.9 million rapid tests and literally millions of N95s for all staff that want one, in addition to the 3-ply quality mask for kids. This is a way by which we can build trust with families by reducing the risk within these settings. And while we continue to be the only province to have provided N95s, one of the 3 that have accelerated booster access for education workforce, one of a few that have now school-based, in-school-based vaccination clinics that require parental consent, that are voluntary. All of this is reducing risk, and we're just very elated to see kids in school. We're proud of that. We believe children need to be in school for their mental and their physical health, and for Kinga, for the Premier, for all of us. We just want to really make sure that they remain as safe as possible, which is why we've stepped up the protocol, in fact, gone above the protocol of public health out of abundance of caution to reduce risk.
I think Chris actually lost connection there, so we will go to the next question, and if Chris rejoins, we'll give her follow-up. So the next question is to Sneh Dougal at QP Briefing.
Hi, good afternoon, Minister. Hi, and my apologies, I couldn't hear the last question or the response. So hopefully I am not repeating anything or asking you to repeat anything. But my first question is regarding a Main Street poll that just came out that shows that nearly 75% of Ontarians somewhat or strongly support schools informing families of COVID-19 cases in classrooms. Provincial guidance doesn't require that currently. But we've seen, while we've seen some school boards say that they're still going to try to do this when possible, others aren't doing that. So I'm just wondering if you can respond to that and why the province isn't requiring schools to give families as much information as they can when it comes to COVID-19 cases, even if it's through rapid testing or other means like self-reporting, for example.
Ontario will continue to be guided by the strict advice of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, who has been clear on his guidance that has been provided to school boards, part of a plan to reduce the risk within our schools and childcare settings by elevating the protocol to include rapid tests, N95s, 3-ply masks, improved ventilation, an additional 3,000 HEPA units. I mean, in this particular school board at TDSB, they've been leading with respect to HEPA procurement and deployment in virtually every learning space where a child is. That is leadership. It's supported by provincial investment and by the board's resources as well. We're going to continue to follow Dr. Luker's advice as we have to date. In fact, we've exceeded it, and we'll continue to encourage the disclosure of relevant information, including absenteeism based on students and on staff, reported every single day on a school level for parents to have access to. And we continue to support school board safety through public health units that have been on the front lines working with our education teams and our school boards to reduce the risk and ensure kids could continue to stay in school, which we believe is paramount. And we're very, very proud to see kids learning today in settings that have been made safer. And of course, this investment, Memorial Collegiate will build upon that by getting kids back in the coming years to a modern school that has ventilation improvements and, more importantly, retain some of the old charm and integrity of the school that dates back for generations. So we're doing this in partnership, and we're going to continue to follow the advice of the Chief Medical Officer on all of our decisions in the province.
Thank you. Yeah, and just on another topic, I'm wondering if you can provide us with an update on whether all students, including those in high schools and staff, have now received the promised 2 rapid tests and masks, and what the status is of supply for additional tests for those who have had to already use the 2 tests that they might have been given.
So rapid tests have been distributed to school boards for elementary children, all staff, and children in childcare, and the staff in childcare settings as well. That was the first tranche, which is complete, and our expectation is those would have been distributed to children already. And the reports we have is that is the case. Secondary students, kids in high school, should be receiving, either have or will, in short order, those rapid tests. Our most recent understanding is that they are getting out the door, and most boards have already distributed them, which is positive, and then part of the broader plan to give families access to rapid tests for symptomatic purposes. Once a test is used, if your child is symptomatic, that individual, upon their return, can replenish their tests and get access to it when there's need. So we have replenishments being sent to school boards, an additional 1 million rapid tests being provided for high schools, as was noted, because we want every student and every staff member to have access to rapid tests where they need it and where symptoms arise. It's 2 rapid tests used over a 24-hour period. With the symptoms subsiding, these kids can get back to school, which reduces the learning gaps and the absenteeism, which we've understand was quite challenging with the PCR testing in the past experiences, where an entire cohort could be dismissed for 7 or more days 10 days because of a single case within it. So the rapid tests give parents the ability to know with greater precision if their child has COVID or if those are symptoms of another virus or another ailment. And we think that's something that's important, which is why we're continuously deploying more rapid tests, and we're working with school boards on receiving the next tranche of deployment of tests from the province of Ontario. I think the Premier has made it abundantly clear his priority is keeping our hospitals, long-term care, and our education, childcare systems strong and safe, given the exceptional difficulty imposed on them. And we're proud of the frontline staff that work there. We want them to have access to these tests, high-quality masks, improved ventilation. It's going to help us reduce risk.
Great. So we'll go to the last question, which will be for Mike Walker at CTV.
Thank you very much. My question is directed to one of the TDSB officials, if possible. I might have missed this at the beginning. I was just having some technical issues here. Wondering if you can touch on what the total price tag is for the rebuild of York Memorial, and again, what timelines are we looking at here?
Thank you for the question. The total rebuild value is still being determined as we do the drawings and do the work. We are looking to have the school open for students again in 2026, September.
Just as a follow-up, for the current student population that has been displaced by this, they've had to move to a couple of different locations, and if I'm correct, one more move for the following school year. Can you touch on why we've had to move them 3 times? Obviously, some students are a little frustrated, maybe that we've heard from. They're happy to hear the school is being rebuilt, but they are hoping to stay at their temporary home right now.
Yes, thank you for the question. We are trying our very best to provide the best education possible to our students. And so as we've worked to make sure our programs are available to our students, we've had to do these moves for logistical reasons to make sure that we can provide the best situation for the students through this difficult time.
I just will build upon that to simply note that we will move mountains to get the project done because we know families, students at York Memorial want to return to their school. Want to return to this historic space. And so we'll work in partnership with the board and the city to cut down on time and red tape, and we can get shovels in the ground that are already underway. To be fair to the board, there's already construction and some work being done today, and we'll help work to expedite that because we believe these kids need to return to the school as soon as humanly possible. And we're very proud to invest $11 million to help support that.
Thanks so much, everyone. If we could just pause and take a quick photo of all the speakers and everyone, and then that will conclude today's event.